Okay, welcome everybody. I'll call this regularly, well, no, not regularly, it's got a special town council meeting to order. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? That'd be funny if like now, after 4 years, someone's like, oh, I forgot we had this issue. Hearing none, I will ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Councilor Thorburn, seconded by Councilor Vergier. All those in favor? Those opposed? Agenda is approved. And we have the minutes of the regular council meeting from October 13th, 2020. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes? Councilor McGuinness? And I'll ask for Deputy Mayor to second it. Any errors or omissions from those?
Question.
Of course, being called. All those in favor? Those opposed? Minutes are approved. And skip down to business arising from unfinished business, which we have none. So we're going to go right to presentations and remarks of outgoing council members. So I'm just going to start before I have a couple of presentations for Councillor McGuinness and Councillor Graves, just by thanking you both for just going above and beyond. You have served on successive councils. You have given 110% to every meeting, every committee you have served on. You should be as proud as you possibly can be for what you've done for this town. Bridgewater is a better place than it was 4 years ago, 8 years ago, 12 years ago, 16 years ago, 20 years ago. And that is because of the commitment that you had to this community and the effort you put into serving it. I remember meeting Councillor Graves when I worked at Blockbuster, and he had M&M's, and I was running for council. And here was a man full of ideas and not afraid to share them, not afraid to stand up for anyone and everyone. And not just the United Way, but determined to make change happen, ran for council, and just kept going and going and going. A little bit like the Energizer Bunny, filled with energy and a passion for people. And I hope that that never fades. I know that not reoffering for council does not mean that you're giving up a life of volunteering or serving this community. Mm-hmm. I know that we're going to see you on committees all across Lunenburg County, I'm sure. But from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for the contribution that you made to this town and beyond, really.
I appreciate that.
I'm going to present you with, if I can read without my glasses here. Present you this on behalf of the entire town. Thank you for your service.
Well, thank you. Very kind. Appreciate it.
I'd shake your hand or give you a hug.
Yeah, well, yeah, looking forward to that day. I think we all are. Anyways, I would just like to say thank you. I'd like to say thank you to the previous council under Mayor Mitchell. All my fellow council members, you guys are great, nice people, easy to work with. We're all kind. Everybody gets along. I'd also like to thank the previous council under David Walker and former Councillor Mailman. They were also a great group, and I think together over the past 8 years we did some good stuff. I'm certainly proud of most bringing the bus to Bridgewater. That is a life changer for so many people in this community, and I am thrilled that as a team we got that done. I'd also like to thank staff, Sandra Porter-Lowe for keeping everything together for us, and Tammy. Our staff are the best of the best, and they make us look all good. So on behalf of my 8 years, I just thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I do intend to see you in the future with maybe a new e-bike club or something like that, right? So thank you very much.
Thank you. And to Councillor McGuinness, I actually don't know where to start.
Don't.
The first time I met you would have been during the 2004 election. I had only lived in Bridgewater for 2 years, so didn't know a lot of people. Here I was running for council. And as I learned more and more about the players around the council table, it was apparent that Bill was a giant amongst council members with his background and certainly his knowledge and wisdom, especially in the financial world, that led us through many, many difficult budget discussions. And I would argue that without that knowledge, We might have made some decisions that would not have got us to where we are today. I appreciate those, that's 3 council terms I sat on with you, and I really appreciate the wisdom and the teamwork. You helped me as a new counselor. I watched you help other new counselors as they tried to find their way through what is a very challenging role. There's a lot of pressures. You always handled it with class and dignity, a little bit of humor, especially as soon as Councillor Thorburn arrived, the two of you, 2 peas in a pod. It made council very enjoyable. And I think that increased our productivity too, because it was fun and we got a lot done. But through all of that, that's 20 years of you serving this community at the municipal table. And I don't know how many committees that would have been on. You probably served on 50 committees in those 20 years or more. And so, again, I cannot thank you enough for the contribution to this committee. Be proud of the decisions that you made, because they got us to where we are today. And, it's been a pleasure to serve all these years with you. So I also have a presentation to make too.
Oh, okay.
Actually, 2 presentations.
2 presentations.
2 presentations.
Wow.
I'm going to give you this one first. Thank you. And this one here is from the NSFM, so that's Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities, in recognition of Councillor McGinnis's 20 years of service in municipal politics in Nova Scotia. So, thank you.
Do I get to say a few words?
Yeah, are you going to stand for your remarks?
I can't believe you didn't mention my one-man protest on e-voting.
We weren't hacked this time, so the Russians are busy with the American election, I think.
No, I just want to congratulate all the incoming new councillors and the returning councillors. I'd also like to, I can't say enough about the staff. I think we have the easy job, because the staff prepare us well for everything that we do. The work they do behind the scenes is absolutely phenomenal. As most of you know, I came from the private sector. I've never ran into, in the private sector, any better staff than we have here in this town. They're just absolutely phenomenal, well-prepared, very good at what they do, and work well behind. And I'm talking not only, in the office here, I'm talking about our public works people, our public service people, the wastewater people, all these people. They're phenomenal staff, and we're very, very fortunate to have them. This is a little bit humor, I guess. I've been part of many things, and Mike mentioned them. We as part of the LCLC coming here, as part of the bus. Matter of fact, the bus started with a conversation that Mike and I had over the phone. I said, wouldn't it be nice to have a bus in town? And he just ran with it. And it is nice. It's a game changer for our town. Yeah. The Joint Service Board, which works behind the scenes, has done phenomenal work for this town and saved us a ton of money. The renovation of the downtown. But one of the things that I'm most proud of, and this is a little humorous, back about 15 years ago, Mayor Publicover was the mayor of the town of Bridgewater. And I was giving him the gears about the celebrations we have for Christmas. We used to have all of about 20 people stand in front of the World Bank. He'd say a few words, and they'd light a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. And then we go away. And I was just giving him a rough time, because Lunenburg County is the Christmas tree capital of the world. And so as a result, he looked at me and said, Mr. Smart Guy, if you can do any better, do it. So I said, I will. And my first stop the next morning was to see Mr. Graves over at M&M Meat Markets. And from that was born Christmas on LaHave.
Bridgewater Shines.
It was Bridgewater Shines then, but it became Christmas on LaHave.
Yeah.
And it is a significant event that a lot of people look forward to. And, it's just something that's a feel-good event. So I think that's great. I just want to talk a little bit about, we've had phenomenal growth over the last number of years, but we're poised and situated to do even more. With the staff we have and with the infrastructure we're putting in place, this is going to be one booming spot, and it's something I'm very, very proud of. My wife and I came here 41 years ago with 2 kids in tow, and had many opportunities to move. That was not going to be the case. We fell in love with this place. Didn't think we would at first, but we fell in love with this place, and it's just, it's home to us. And I'd be remiss to not thank the young lady up there, my wife Nora, for everything that she's done. And it's really true, behind every good man, there's a woman twice as good. So thank you very much. I just have one more comment to all the councilors around the table and all the incoming councilors. Always remember, when you're sitting around this table, it's not your money you're spending. It's taxpayers' money. And you have a fiduciary trust to manage that as best you can. It's critical. And so I was going to get into it, Mr. Mayor, about how the province mistreats us and all that stuff, but I'm not going to do that tonight.
I think I did that on the radio
But,
last week. So we're good.
but I'd like to thank all of the councilors I've worked with over the years and all the mayors. They've always had the best interest of the town at heart. And that, I think, is critical. And the other thing that's critical is you can debate, you can really get into it at a council table, but when you leave the room united. That's critical. And so, again, on behalf of my wife and I want to thank each and every one of you, and I want to thank all the residents of the town for putting up with me for 20 years.
Thank you. Recognizing that the rest of council is actually coming back to be sworn in, but I do want to give the opportunity, if you have something that you want to say to Councillor Graves or Councillor McGinnis, now's probably a good time.
Besides good riddance.
Councillor Thorburn.
Talked to my buddy over there. He never did buy me that coffee for 8 years. But I learned so much under Bill. We've had a lot of conversations, and most of it was financial, and we debated that budget. We had back and forth phone calls and emails and whatnot. He's been a real good friend and a real good go-to guy when you needed some help. And I've had many calls. I called him and asked him, and he helped me through some hard decisions I had to make as the years went by, and I can't thank him enough. And him and Nora became great friends. And from Michael, the same way. We started on Bridgewater Shines, and then we got some pyrotechnics involved, and they didn't really know what that was until the fireworks started. And it got better every year, and it continues to grow. So I thank the both of them. It was a privilege to serve with you, and I will miss both of you at the table. Thank you.
I hope you'll continue reading the long motions.
Yeah. That's
Probably a given.
yeah. Anyone else to say a few words? No? All right. I am looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded by, we are adjourned.
Good evening. I'm going to call to order a special town council meeting. to conduct the swearing-in ceremony for the 2020 Town Council of Bridgewater. The order of swearing in will begin with David Mitchell for mayor, and then it'll be alphabetical after that. I'll call your names. You come to the podium, and we have your oath here that you'll recite and sign, and then you can take your seat at the table. So we'll start with David Mitchell.
I, David Mitchell, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors according to law, and that I am duly qualified as required by law for the office of mayor for the town of Bridgewater, and that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially execute the duties of the office to which I have been elected to the best of my knowledge and ability, and that I have not and will not receive any payment or reward promised thereof for the exercise of any partiality or the undue execution of the duties of my office.
Okay. Next we have Stacy Colwell.
I, Stacy Caldwell, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors according to law, and that I am duly qualified as required by law for the office of councillor for the town of Bridgewater, and that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially execute the duties of the office to which I have been elected to the best of my knowledge and ability, and that I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of any partiality or other undue execution of the duties of my office. This one?
Okay. Mike Conklin.
I, Mike Conklin, swear that I'll be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors according to law, and that I am duly qualified as required by law for the office of councillor for the town of Bridgewater, and that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially execute the duties of the office to which I have been elected to the best of my knowledge and ability, and that I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of any partiality or other undue execution of the duties of my office.
Cheryl Kujira.
I, Cheryl Fugier, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors according to the law. And that I am duly qualified as required by law for the office of counselor for the town of Bridgewater. And that I will truly, faithfully, and impartiality execute the duties of the office to which I have been elected to the best of my knowledge and ability. And that I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of any partiality or other undue execution of the duties of my office.
Jennifer McDonald.
I, Jennifer McDonald, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors according to law, and that I am duly qualified as required by law for the office of counselor for the town of Bridgewater, and that I will truthfully, faithfully, and impartially execute the duties of the office to which I have been elected to the best of my knowledge and ability, and that I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or a promise thereof for the exercise of any partiality or other undue execution of the duties of my office.
Andrew Tanner.
I, Andrew Tanner, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors according to law, and that I am duly qualified as required by law for the office of counselor for the town of Bridgewater, and that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially execute the duties of the office to which I have been elected to the best of my ability, my knowledge, and ability, and that I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of any partiality or other undue execution of the duties of my office.
And Wayne Thorburn.
I, Wayne Thorburn, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors according to law, that I am duly qualified as required by law for the office of counsel for the town of Bridgewater, and I will truly, faithfully, and impartially execute the duties of the office to which I have been elected to the best of my knowledge and ability, and I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of any partiality or other undue execution of the duties of my office. Sworn at Bridgewater, County of Bloomberg, 2nd day of November, 2020. Performed.
Done. Congratulations. I'll hand it over to the mayor.
sense of relief as everyone takes off their mask around the table. All right. Well, first, congratulations, everybody. I want to give everyone who wants to the opportunity to say some remarks. You just want to say hello or thank your support system that's out there. I want to make sure everyone has that opportunity. Cheryl, do you want to start us off?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to take this time to again thank the residents of Bridgewater for their continued support to be reelected for another council term. It is definitely a privilege and honor to be at the council table with such a great team. I'm very thankful for that. And I'm just excited to get to work and to be part of the future of this amazing community called Bridgewater. Thank you.
Councillor Caldwell, did you? Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to say I'm grateful for the confidence the voters of Bridgewater have shown in me, and I won't let them down. I'll also always remember the countless number of people who reached out to show their support during the campaign, and that meant the world to me. My election wouldn't have been possible without the love and support of my family, especially invaluable contributions of my wife, Melanie. I'd like to acknowledge the contributions of the outgoing councillors, and I look forward to working with my colleagues and staff as a team to advance the issues important to our community going forward. Thank you.
Councillor Thorburn.
Just a few words, Your Worship. Certainly, I'm honored to be here, and special thanks to the residents and friends who supported me. I didn't believe I was that popular until Facebook got a hold of my post. A lot of comments, really encouraging. And the next 4 years is critical to this town. It sets the path for the future. And it's important that we be financially responsible and make sure we do the right job the first time. We don't get a second chance, and I'm just raring to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor McDonald.
It's a huge honor and privilege, as Councillor Fougere said, to sit at this table, and I'm deeply, deeply grateful to the residents of Bridgewater for allowing me to do that for yet another 4 years. For all of the people who reached out, for the past councillors and staff members, and everyone I've gotten to work with over the past 8 years and get to work with for the next 4, for all that you've taught me, all that I've learned, and how much I've been able to grow with the town of Bridgewater. And I'd also like to thank my family, who very enthusiastically and eagerly gets behind me every 4 years and encourages me to keep doing this, despite it being difficult for them at times and a lot of sacrifice for them. They're always behind me, and I really appreciate it from the community and my family. Thank you, and I hope that I can do you proud and look forward to working with you for the next 4 years.
Thank you. Councillor Conklin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to start by thanking the residents of Bridgewater for electing me, and it was a very humbling honor running in my first public election. It was stressful, and I know that the other new councillor across from me can probably relate. I'd like to thank my support network, especially my wife Patty, for the support that she's provided over since the start of the campaign until today, and for the next 4 years anyway. I'd also like to congratulate and thank outgoing councillors Graves and McInnes for their contribution over the past, well, for one of them for the past couple of decades. Thanks, Bill and Mike. And I'm very honored to be part of this team, and I'm looking forward to getting to work. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks. Welcome. Deputy Mayor Tanner.
That's good. Yeah, I'd just like to thank the taxpayers for the town of Bridgewater giving me the opportunity to serve the town again. I'm very excited for the next 4 years. I think, as Councilor McGinnis said very clearly, that the town is poised for great growth in the coming years, as well as many great challenges, and I think we've got a good team around the table and a good staff complement to deliver on that. I would like to thank Councillor Graves and Councillor McGinnis for all their years of hard work, and I wish I had the energy of you two, but I'll do my best to deliver what I can. I think you two have I don't know, just a tremendous amount of energy and passion for the town, and I want to thank you for that, and you've certainly both taught me a lot, so thanks. And lastly, thank you to my family for supporting me through this process once again.
Thank you. Down to me. And thank you to our CAO, Ms. Crowder, for swearing us all in. That's great. During COVID, a little different, a little difficult, but appreciate that. Thank you. I'm excited, and you should also be excited. Not just because tonight you were sworn in as town councilors, but because we're about to begin 4 years of moving Bridgewater forward. 4 years of working to make our community safer, more diverse, inclusive, and sustainable. 4 years working to make our community the best version of itself. It's funny to me that municipal government is sometimes overlooked. We're seen as the junior level compared to the provincial or federal politics, and therefore perhaps less exciting or sadly less important. But make no mistakes, the decisions we make for our town are some of the most important ones anyone can make, regardless of the level of government that makes them. We should be excited, not just as a council here, but as a community, because we have some pretty interesting things on our plate. After our Smart Cities win 18 short months ago, Energized Bridgewater is beginning to take shape and will be fully up and running before this term is over. The Exit 12A project is moving along quickly and will create incredible opportunities for our entire region, opportunities for young people, for families and businesses in this community, and it will enhance our ability to attract people to Bridgewater. We're going to have a plan coming soon to lead us through our wastewater issues, which is a big item and certainly something that impacts every single resident in the town of Bridgewater. We're also going to be welcoming a couple of new buses very soon that will make Bridgewater Transit more comfortable and accessible to people. And while these are more or less the good news stories coming our way this term, we will also need to address one of the biggest challenges facing our community, and that is housing. With that in mind, I would like to announce that we will be working towards the creation of an all-council committee to tackle housing issues in Bridgewater. This will need to be something that council discusses and approves, so it's not happening like right at this moment. It is, however, something that I believe we need to work towards. Housing may not be the mandate of municipal government, but someone needs to move the needle forward on this, and so in the absence of enough being done, I'm asking that we step up. We need to look at everything from planning to policies, from provincial and federal funding to the day-to-day gaps and barriers that are preventing the creation of adequate housing for our people. We aren't necessarily the solution, but we sure as hell are not going to be the barrier. If you've been in my office, you've seen a large poster depicting donut economics, and I would encourage those watching online or in the audience to Google what that means. This template will serve as a guide for us as we work to build that social foundation that includes addressing housing, social equity, gender and racial equality, and more. We need to recognize that while there are many things not in our direct control, we can influence policy and people outside our organization. We have a lot of hard work ahead of us, but I can tell you from experience that this can be the most rewarding job you will ever have if you let it. To begin this council term, as cliche as it may sound, I want you to be inspired. It's funny that as I was thinking about tonight in these remarks and the tone I wanted to set, I was listening to a speaker who was talking about the difference between inspiration and motivation. Part of my job as mayor is to lead us down the path that we choose to forge together. And I thought that meant setting that tone that would motivate us and motivate our staff to get to the targets that we set. But now I want to do more than just motivate us. People can be motivated for the wrong reasons. For example, you can be motivated to do something out of fear of being punished, or motivated if you think you're going to be rewarded. Inspiration, however, is different. Inspiration is inside you. It's where you go for that internal strength, and it's fueled by our love of family, friends, and of community. For the next 4 years, we're going to have some good days and bad days. And if we're just motivated, then we risk losing momentum at the first sign of difficulty. But if we're inspired, however, then I truly believe that there is nothing that we can't achieve. Now, you may think that's just me being the eternal optimist, but I want you to remember that the last 4 years were not without its challenges. We had things that impacted this community that were out of control that could easily have shaken our resolve. The fire on King Street, the main sewer line that broke on King Street as well, and COVID-19 are just 3 examples. Through each of these, we were inspired to action and worked at bringing the community closer together. That inspiration is also why we sit around the tables of the International Network of Michelin Cities and the Federation of Canadian Municipalities at the board of director level. It's also why we're part of the global conversation at the C40. It's not by fluke, and it's not by luck. I believe it is because we are inspired to make Bridgewater as awesome as it can be. That is infectious. Others see it, and they want to share in it. So I want to finish with this. In this moment now, this feeling that you all have, especially for Councillor Conklin and Caldwell, and your families as well, this is a moment I want you to remember. The excitement of what the future holds, the anticipation of the decisions that we have to make, and the privilege of serving this community is something I want to have carry us all through the next 4 years. The potential of Bridgewater is unlimited. It starts here with town council and staff. It then spreads from here to the people of this town, to those who live here, to those who work here, and those who moved away who now want to return here. We will lead by example, and we will inspire through our actions. So to everybody, welcome to Bridgewater Town Council. It is going to be awesome. And with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Councillor Thorburn, seconded by Councillor Vergier. We are adjourned. Thank you.